It's the start of another new year, and as 2020 has crawled across the finish line, shaking his head, muttering something about what a dumpster fire of a year, 2021 is all like, hold my beer. Meanwhile, I'm trying to keep that sort of reading momentum going. I had a fantastic break, no thoughts of work, and a ton of reading done. Now it's back to the grind, back to work, and I'm still trying to keep that sort of reading going. And it certainly doesn't hurt that I've started the year off especially strong with some fantastic reads, including my first read of 2021, Jessica Anthony's Enter the Aardvark. Based on the title alone, you know you're in for something a little off-kilter, and that is exactly what you get. Alexander Payne Wilson is starting his re-election campaign for the 1st Congressional District in Virginia. He's a true Ronald Reagan fan, almost a little obsessive, spending a not inconsiderate and perhaps ill-gotten fortune on assorted Reagan paraphernalia, including owning his tan raincoat for everyday use, his long black woolen one for winter wear, his lightweight denim cowboy shirt, his American flag cufflinks. There's even an aborted attempt to buy a vial of Reagan's blood after he was shot by Hinckley. So clearly a bit of a super fan. Alexander Payne Wilson is a dyed-in-the-wool, pure-blood Republican, and naturally he's a bit of a dick. And his story is told completely in the second person, which is kind of a big lift, not often seen in literature, but I think it works here because it sort of implicates you as you're reading it. Like, you're not gay, Greg Tampico is not gay, you're both straight guys who occasionally like other straight guys who like to suck and stroke cocks. And you've got nothing against women, it's just by and large they make you uncomfortable. And not just women. There are certain minorities that also make you a little uneasy, like black people and LGBT or whatever. I mean, you don't take them seriously anyway. LGBT sounds like something you order at a diner with a side of mayo. And of course, there's your competitor in the congressional race, Nancy fucking Beavers, middle-aged woman with an ass like two neighborly cast iron skillets and those unbelievable pantsuits. And I know the second person shtick doesn't exactly work for everyone, but I like how it creates this space for his Reagan obsession and his closeted sexuality and the fact that he wanders around his home appraising everything that he has, including the Kohler brushed vibrant bronze overhead ambient rain shower that costs $4,125, or the 10-layer California king-size Kluft Palais Royal mattress made of 10 layers of cashmere, mohair, silk, and wool that costs $32,878, because of course he knows how much it costs, because that's important to him and his notion of self, because he is a small and petty man that needs to surround himself with these things so he can feel important, or at least relevant. And there is no small delight in how absolutely bonkers things go with the arrival of one Aardvark, which can trace its lineage back to one richly mustachioed zoological naturalist by the name of Sir Richard Oslet of the Victorian era. This is what makes the other half of the novel, which follows Oslet as he sends his recently captured Aardvark to his taxidermist friend and sometimes furtive lover, Titus Downing. Titus and Oslet, obviously Victorian-era echoes of Greg Tampico and Alexander Wilson. Titus is tasked with stuffing and mounting the Aardvark, and he becomes obsessed in trying to capture its weird and ugly beauty. And it's clear author Jessica Anthony went deep in the Victoria-era taxidermy manuals, but she tells it in such a loving way that I almost want to take up taxidermy and start stuffing roadkill to somehow capture the jiva, or the immortal life essence of a creature. Although, if I'm being completely honest, I would probably take the tact of Titus Downing's most hated nemesis, Walter Potter, who creates these obscene human tableaus with mice drinking tea and rabbits playing cards and kittens wearing wedding gowns, which of course the public just adores, and which is why Titus Downing refuses to seek their approval or their unwarranted, undeserved attention, because you see, Titus Downing is an artiste who can't help also mentioning repeatedly throughout the book that the Aardvark's limbs are both plantigrade at the front and digitigrade at the back. This honestly was a delightful read. It's clear Jessica Anthony is having fun. I was having fun. I love all the many digressions that Anthony takes in the story, and it's clear she loves words. Of course, all authors love words, but she has no hesitation to pick some off-kilter, out-there words and include them in, like exophthalmos or spontaneous globe luxation, not to mention the 3 words that prompted the entire story itself: Enter the Aardvark. Jessica Anthony says she often writes from titles or phrases, and the 3-word phrase "Enter the Aardvark" really stuck in her head and took root, or as she puts it, tapped on the window. And it wasn't until the 2016 election that the novel started to really take shape. Now, Jessica Anthony has been a butcher in Alaska, an unlicensed masseuse in Poland, a secretary in San Francisco, and while she was writing Enter the Aardvark, she was a bridge guard at the Maria Valaria Bridge between Sturovo, Slovakia and Estorogum. But otherwise, this feels like a bit of an indulgent read. We've seen how selfish manipulation, craven acts, and bald-faced lies are not only tolerated, but celebrated. It's almost quaint to think that something as harmless as an aardvark could warrant any sort of reckoning in an environment where withholding military aid, insider trading with government insider knowledge, or live tweeting the location of government officials during an insurrection quickly gets passed over with an ever-churning news cycle. Which isn't to say this wasn't a lot of fun to read, nonetheless. Still, I started and finished this before returning back to work on the 4th. This might have hit a little different after January 6th. Honestly, you start poking fun at a little bit of Republican bombast and hypocrisy, and 4 years later, you're facing an armed insurrection, QAnon-spouting conspiracy theorists, and white supremacist apologists. I mean, how does history even begin to teach these past 4 years to, subsequent generations? It kind of sucks living through history, and who knows where it's headed next. Anyway, that's a lot. Let's end on a happy note. This was a fun read, and I am reading some freaking great books so far. Anyway, that is it for me this week. I hope you all have a great week of reading, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
What happened to you?
I got maced.
You got maced?
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside, and they pushed me out, and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.